Hello everyone, how are you all doing this evening? Good evening, welcome to Mike at Night. I hope that everybody is doing fine, everybody is enjoying themselves, had a wonderful day. For those who have been working hard, well, I hope that this is going to be a respite for you. Welcome to Mike at Night. Let me tell you to rock and come in, invite everybody to join us so that we'll be able to discuss some of the subjects that we have this evening. It's going to be a wonderful topic tonight. We're talking about why do some people cheat. Chef, good evening. Nice having you, my boy. Nice for you joining us. Thank you very much. So I apologize as per usual, even though we did all the tests again, but you know how it is. Charmaine boys, good evening to you. Rock and come in, people, rock and come in. Why do some people cheat? Now we know for sure, we dealt with cheating in previous programs. So we're not going to necessarily go over those things. There are different reasons that people cheat and they call cheaters different things, etc. But we're talking about more than just the person who's culpable in the cheat. How come some people who never plan to cheat end up cheating? Call your friends and tell them we're on like boiled corn, my people. Alright? So let's have you be part of the program. Alright? So those who are with us on Facebook and those of you on YouTube, thank you very much and we welcome you. We ask you to join us as we are on the program this evening. Alright? So as soon as we get a couple more people on, we're gonna really rock and ready to rumble. Alright, so let's see who's on. Diane, good evening. Rock and come in, Diane. Rock and come in. My dear sister. I'm trying to set you up with the online Scrabble, but I'll do it, see if I could do that after. Alright? Alright, Sandra Lam, good evening. Sandra, I should be in your space. I think it is September, I believe it might be. Don't worry, I'll keep you informed. Alright, so they said that there's a slight verb. Something is echoing. Alright, so you'll tell me if you're still having that problem, my boy. Tell me if you're still having it. I think it might be the fan you're hearing. I'll try to go with the fan this time. It might be the fan you are hearing. So if I take it off, you might get a better transmission, but it's gonna get kind of warm. All right. Welcome, welcome. Okay, Camille, Jack, good evening. Welcome, Camille, and all of you great people. All right, so let's go. We're talking this evening as to why some people cheat, and we're talking about the people who did not plan to cheat but end up cheating. They cheat for a particular reason, and I want to give a caveat here to say that I am not going to say or do anything that encourages cheating. There are times that you need to explain what is happening in people's lives for us to be able to appreciate what is really taking place. And this that I'm trying to do is to help you to get the explanation that those who have written about it and studied it have shared with us as to why some people cheat. Not everybody, but this is for some people. Alright? So if you have your spouse, make sure your spouse is around, because some of you never plan to cheat and then end up in a situation that you thought about it, or you may have done it. Welcome, my dear lady. Welcome, Roxanne. Thank you very much. Joining us all the way from Guyana. Yes, I think that is. Josiane Bellot, St. Lucia. Thank you very much. Good evening. You all rock and come in, rock and come in. Because once I start, I'm on the roll after that. All right. So let's start with number one. When people rush into a marriage, into a relationship, they rush into it for different reasons. And some of those reasons are not honorable reasons. Sometimes somebody realizes that they are getting a bit up in age. Some people, because they figured that others in their circle have become married, so they marry and so on. And some people, in order to be able to prove to a spouse that I'm not hard up, I could get into a relationship, they get into a relationship. But the problem that they say happens here is this, that the person is not invested in this relationship. Because once they did not get into it because it is a compatible relationship, they got into it for these surreptitious reasons, then you have a problem on your hand. The problem that you have on your hand is that they are not committed for the long haul. So they are not giving everything into the relationship. And because you are now married to somebody who did not genuinely get into the relationship, you find yourself lacking in something in the relationship, and sometimes you don't know what it is. And half the time is because the person you are married to is not giving it its all for one reason or the other. So those rushed marriages are some of those prominent marriages or relationships that find it. So you don't find a connection. We don't seem to be able to hook up properly in this relationship. It never was. And they say that is what causes some people in such a relationship to go outside. Now, the person who get into the relationship may not be doing anything and they may not be unfaithful or anything like that. But you recognize that the person is not in it. Their heart is not in it. They're giving you a half-hearted input. So that is number one that we want to share with you. And some people could identify with what I'm saying, because a number of people have been in relationship and they feel they are shortchanged with the person that they're in. All right, Lawrence, we're glad that you are online. Glad that you made it. Chef said that some people like to vary their diet and may desire to try other dishes. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, but in this case, we're also talking about the innocent person who did not go out there at first, but decided to go out after. All right, so rushed marriages. Second, where there is emotional neglect, and this I think happens to be a very large part of what people experience in relationships, where emotionally they are starving. Emotionally, there is no sustenance in the relationship. We are married, the bills are being paid, children are being dropped to school, the sex is there, but the sex isn't love making. So you feel as though you're running through a routine in the relationship, and there is no passion involved in it. So if you don't attend to your partner's emotional needs, you can very well cause that partner to go searching for it, because people are attracted to where they feel connected and warmth, love and concern and care. So when there is that absence, it becomes a problem, right? So that emotional starvation is experienced. So most of you start, in fact, as an emotional bond. That is how most relationships start. So, and once you cultivate that emotional intimacy between two people, communication becomes one of warmth and is also one that makes a person feel as though they are part of the co-authorship of this relationship. In the absence of that emotional connection, a vacuum is created. And as they say in law, Nature abhors a vacuum. Nature does not like to know there's emptiness. And there are people who are in relationship and starving in the relationship because there's no emotional connection. You all dig me? All right. Kieran David, how are you? This is St. Lucia. Thank you very much for joining us. Linda Jofield, thank you for joining us. If you don't water your grass, someone else will water it. You got that right, Linda. And let me tell you, a lot of people went and got the grass watered, never started off wanting it to be watered. But they felt that there was this absence that was there. This is not an excuse, this is an explanation. Edwin Tulsi, good evening, Trinidad. Welcome. Have a seat. Fit yourself into the class, my boy. All right. So, we've given you two so far. So, one is that we said there's going to be that rushed relationship that you got into, but you weren't really invested in it, and the other person that you got into it sense that you're not there. And a number of relationships can talk about that you feel as though your partner is not in this thing for you. They're not invested in it. You are the one who carrying the relationship. You are dragging it along. And then you have the emotional disconnect, where emotionally you don't feel as though the person cares for your deep innermost feelings. You don't feel as though that there is love, care, and concern that's taking place. Number 3. Good evening, Candice Alexander, for joining us. Late. You're becoming regularly late too. Anyway, have a seat. Class in session. Number 3. When there are old habits in a relationship where there are things that somebody did and they continue to do it, those old habits that people have. So let's say that the person used to have casual sex years ago, and you all have been dealing with this matter over and over and over again. Because you know the person is not engaged in the relationship, they are not committed in that relationship, but you know that they have been involved in this casual sex, but they're not giving up that old habit. You could find that the person who is in that relationship gets so frustrated with having to deal with the same old stuff over and over again that they find solace in another partner. Sometimes it doesn't have to be sex. It could be drinking. We talk about the drinking. We talk about how you're coming home and how you behave when you come home and all of these things. But you will not give up the drinking. You're liming too much. You're a now married person, you're settled down, you have a family. But you're liming every weekend. You're coming home late. Those old habits you're not giving up. Sooner or later, when your spouse keeps quiet, it may be because they have found themselves somebody else that they don't need to quarrel up with you and your issues again. Alright? Charmaine says no emotional support, no financial support, no spiritual support, no communication of any kind. Well, Charmaine, that is not a relationship. No, man. You have no emotional support, no financial support, no spiritual support, and no communication of any kind. Now, that is a truck. Something inanimate. Yeah. But if somebody is inside of that situation, could you understand if that person, it crosses their mind to be unfaithful? When you have all of those no's? Timothy Benjamin, good evening to you. Aye, righto. Yes. Your wife in class. In this class or in the next class? Timothy, let me know. Alright, I hope she is in this class, because I want everybody to be in this class with their spouse. Because sometimes the spouse is not aware of exactly how things are happening. And that is why some divorces and some separations shock some people, because they were in a different world, not studying what is actually happening on the ground. Glenda Allen, walk and come in, my dear lady. Have a seat to the back of the class. All right, Timothy, right, she in this class. Welcome, welcome. Mrs. Benjamin. Sister Benjamin. Right, so those old habits. Take stock of some of the habits that you have that you should have been giving up long time. That your spouse has been begging you to straighten up, mature in, wise up. That you've been ignoring. Leave those dangerous habits behind. You're getting older. You see? And that could cause the person to now go and look outside. It is an explanation, my people. Number 4, bad company. You see, because if you don't have the right people in your space, never line with people who are not going where you're going. Never hook yourself up to somebody who's not going in the direction you are heading. Because you are going to be unequally yoked in this journey. If you have an animal that's going east tied to another animal that's going west, you can't dig no proper furrow to plant crops in. You need to hook up equally in order for you to be able to plow a field. And both animals must be going in the right direction and the same direction. So, bad company, you cannot say that you are good and your company bad. Because evil company, says the Bible, corrupts good morals. Or bad company corrupts good morals. So therefore, watch the people that you're hanging around. Because some of the people you're hanging around, they may incite, encourage, lure you into doing things contrary to and compromising to your own values, spiritual values and otherwise. How can you think that you will have all the friends that you hang around smoking, drinking, and you are the only one who not smoking and drinking? Is that possible? The answer is yes. Is it probable? Is it practical? The answer is no. Because why are you hanging around people who don't hold your values? Well, because we are supposed to love everybody. Alright, go ahead. Go ahead. This is why the Bible says, come out from among them and be ye separate, says the Lord. There is a reason. Lenora Francis Moses, good evening to you. Thanks for joining class. You're joining the class a little late, but we're glad to have you anyhow. Only rock and come in, people. Rock and come in. Number 5. And then after I will just enumerate them for those who walking in the class any hour on this session here. Why some people cheat, even though they did not want to or did not set out to. Now they must take responsibility for their decision to cheat. That is true. But could we understand why some people are lured and tempted into it? So number 5 is sexually, they might be frustrated. You see, because when your sexual needs are not met in the legitimate place it's supposed to meet, in your marital relationship. So your wife or your husband not having sex with you for a long period of time because they are vexed, or they withhold it for one reason or the other, then you have a situation on your hand where your mounting sexual desire has no outlet. And that could cause some people to miss the mark on one unguarded evening, one time in a situation where they're at a high sexual appetite and somebody that the devil brings into their space at that point in time. And before you know it, they are taken in. So it is important for each person in a marital relationship to take care of each other's sexual needs. Even if you're vexed. Why I must give him an and a vex? Well, because you could contribute towards your wife or your husband becoming unfaithful. I'm not saying that you caused them and you are responsible for them, but you could contribute towards them going there. So, how you deal with that is going to be very crucial. And let me just deal a bit here with my Christian family friends who usually get so complacent because their spouse is a Christian, and they don't understand that even in that situation it becomes a temptation. So I want to give you this scripture from 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 5. If you look the screen for it, so that you don't have to go and look for your Bible. For my Christian people, here's what the Bible says. Paul speaking to the Corinthians. Don't deprive. Stop depriving one another. Which means holding back something that is theirs. You deprive them of it. Stop depriving one another, except by agreement for a time. Which means, okay, we're not going to have sex for the next 2 weeks. 1, because you want to pray and fast, or 2, because we want to be able to settle some of the issues that we have, whatever it is, or 1 week, or 4 days, 2 days, whatever it is. But you must get my agreement. You can't just take off just so and just say you go in and pray and fast. You can't just take off so and just say that you are cutting out sex and so on. When in the marital relationship, it is something that we owe each other, because the verse before says, your body is not your own. If you read verse 4, he says, but when you withhold each other and you devote yourselves to prayer, you must come again together. So that the Satan, the Bible says, will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Would not tempt you who withhold, and neither tempt the person who you withhold it from. You all get me, my people? All right. So, rock and come in. Let me see what people saying on the line there now. What? All you agree? Tell me what all you agree. Da 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 da. All right. If all you don't agree with me, tell me. How things going there? Let me see the hearts if you all supporting. And like and subscribe to the page so that once we go live, you are always notified. Alright, so let me recap now, as I promised that I would. For those who just joined us, I think it's 5 of them we dealt with so far. So, number 1. When people rush into relationships, they're not invested in the relationship. That's a bad thing. It feels as though you're in prison because you're now locked into a relationship, bonded by each other by a covenant. And sometimes, not only bonded in this thing with the covenant, you might be entangled with a mortgage. So you can't even come back out of the situation. So it becomes a difficult situation to deal with. Alright? So that's one of the reasons why we've got to. Alright? If you look at the top there, you'll see our telephone numbers and email for counseling. 868-480-0080. 868-480-0080. Alright, so if you need to call, because sometimes we need a little help. Alright. So let's go now. Let me see what people are saying there now. All right. Okay, Lawrence is saying that chapter and verse is mostly violated by wives. Charmaine say Lawrence Flamen, wow. It's looking as though Charmaine, what happened? You don't agree with Lawrence? Let's find out, Charmaine. Do you agree with Lawrence? And let me hear from the others too. Do you agree with Lawrence Flamen that the chapter and verse we just read in Corinthians concerning withholding yourself from your spouse sexually is one of those verses that wives are most culpable in? Or tell me. Are we waiting there? Yes or no? Just yes or no. Tell me. Edwin said you have to sit down and count the cost before you build. Alright, so that means before you give the sex, you have to count the cost, or before you get into the marriage, whether you're prepared to give up the sex or not. One of the main things that people get married to is to be able to have legitimate sex. Not so? I would think so. So yes or no? Do you all agree with Lawrence that you must have, that it is women or wives who contravene that verse? Charmaine says, well, Charmaine don't agree with your Lawrence. She says wiping one group of individuals without a survey. Okay. Well, Charmaine, at you know. Candice says yes. It is woman. Glenda says no, it's not woman. All right. So, I'm waiting to hear the others. All right. You all tell me. Uh-huh. The So I'm just reading where it says that 1 in 6 women and 1 in 6 women withhold sex, and 1 in 10 men. So for every 6 women, 1 woman, because Shami is asking for data. So I just googled it, Shami. Every 6 women, 1 woman is going to withhold sex. But in every 10 men, 1 man will withhold sex. So it sounds as though, if we go by that, Charmaine, Lawrence may very well be right. Alright, Lawrence? Lyndon, is now you're getting? Alright. Take a seat quietly. Timothy said, I'd rather cheat on my dad. I've invested too much in my marriage to play dotish now. Alright. Alright, very interesting. 1 in 6 women withhold sex or go into withdrawal, and 1 in 10 men withhold. Alright. Alright, so let's continue then. We'll pick it up back as we're going along. So emotion, old habits, bad company, sexual frustration. Those are the others that we said cause relationships to go into unfaithfulness. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate my good friend who private messaged me, and it's a woman, and she says that scripture is often ignored by Christians. You hear that? So thank you, my friend, for sending me that information. So let's go now. So we talk about sexual frustration where it has been withheld, and then somebody comes along, and men have withheld sex, and sometimes because they're getting it elsewhere. Some men have withheld sex, and the wife is tempted, and some women have withheld sex, and the husband is tempted. You're not doing your relationship much good because of that. Just get the agreement. The next thing that they say that caused some people to become unfaithful is this thing about perpetual misunderstanding, which means we're always quarreling about something. The animosity and the hatred and the arguments, the fallouts are so frequent, my good people. So very frequent that the frustration of the relationship drives some people into the arms of somebody else. You heard me right. That frustration, this is why you should try and make sure your relationship isn't full of turmoil and conflict. Learn to solve problems quickly. Don't have them hanging on. You can't be in a relationship of something that is valuable and stop talking to the person for 9 days, 2 weeks. You will get vexed with your boss yesterday and you still go back to work the next day. You stay home 9 days now. Try that. So, when you are vexed and you're having all of that argument that is going on, consider how it is impacting your relationship, right? I want to probably put this in, and this is my own feeling. If somebody treats their partner badly, really badly, it means that all somebody else has to do to take your partner's attention is just do bare minimum niceness, and you have lost that partner. Because you have not made the bar high. So if you have been treating your spouse real nice, lovingly, emotionally you connect, you're a good listener, you value their opinion, you're spending quality time with them, you always engage, you feel when they're in pain and you also feel when they are happy, you promote them. That means somebody else to come and take that spouse from you have to really climb high to do that. Because you are doing well. Although I will admit that there are some people, you treat them as good as ever. Them so low down in and low atrocious that they will still horn you. There are some like that. I acknowledge that. But generally, we're not talking about those. Okay. Toxic relationships send spouses astray. That is what we're now talking about there, you're right. Those conflict and misunderstanding and arguments, etc. So, keep away from all of that. Talk things out now, discuss. And those people who shut down, stonewall, have nothing to say, you are just as bad, you know. Because if you are with a spouse and you are not seeing anything in the house all the time and you're walking past them day in, day out, because you're vexed and you're not talking and you're not saying what is on your mind. You're just as bad. That is passive aggressive. You are demonstrating disgust, disdain, and anger, but not dealing with it. Number 7, your working environment. I want to talk about this one here. Your working environment. There's a difference between this and the one that we're going to talk about in just a while. Your working environment. Because you spend 5 to 8 hours a day at your workplace, one of the things that bring people together is that closeness and frequency together. The more often you're in the presence of somebody, the more you'll either get to like them or get to hate them. And you spend so many hours in a given day at work. Check how many workplace relationships take place in your own society, where people flirt and they sometimes even the office has events that don't allow spouses to attend. Sometimes two people have to work together for long hours. 2 police on a duty, male and female, on a night of stakeout, or having to work together in a hospital, a doctor and a nurse, or 2 nurses, male and female, 2 doctors, male and female, watchmen watching schools, and school closed for the holidays, but you are there all night watching school and all them classrooms empty. Yes? All they talk to me now, man. All they don't understand this thing, you know. Angel Wilson said to me, I find both parties shouldn't withhold sex from each other once they are married. Do new things, explore. If the man or woman fall out, they should forgive each other quickly and avoid the same situation. All marriages should be aiming for till death do us part. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate that. All right. So, when you have to work for those long hours, there are some people, they drive trucks from one state to the next state. And you have the driver, but you have somebody who is the delivery or the person who writing up the receipts, etc. Some of these state-to-state trips run for hours, and you have to now stop off at a motel, a pit stop, etc. You know how much thing could go down there? You understand me? Air hostess and pilots. You are in a far-flung country. You're sleeping in the same hotel. And you are off there for long times. There are some people who work in hotels as waiters. And you have to be there late in the night. And somebody have to drop you home, and sometimes a co-worker dropping you home midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And this is happening day in, day out, night in, night out. What do you think? All you think it easy? Charmaine said there are others who spend 5 to 8 hours at work and come home, complain they are tired, but still find time to go out with their friends and spend no time with their spouse. That is correct. So you ask yourself, ain't that excuse? That is an excuse. Alright? So, the working environment, I suggest that people try as much as possible to go home and make up for the time that you have been absent from home for a long time by spending special time with your family, and not do as Charmaine says, after spending all of that time, you're still going out and now find your friends to spend the time with. Number 8, lust. Those who come in late, you will have to go back to the live after it is finished to get an update. We can't deal with it now. Lust. These are the people who all they study is sex. All they study is sex and addiction to sex, etc. They're not in love with people, they're in love with sex and flirting and touching and petting, etc. They just want to get turned on. And when you have a spouse who that is all that they're interested in, and that spouse you are married to, and you start to feel as though your spouse doesn't love me, when they having sex with me, they're not making love to me, they are having sex. So they are just lusting. So you don't feel as though you are enjoying sex with your spouse. Then you could find that that spouse who is not enjoying the sex because this other person is only after the sex itself, you could find that that person could very well turn around and be unfaithful. Alright? Nice. Distance. Distance is when both people are not able to see face to face. One is studying in one country, the other one is home. One, because of their job, they have to travel and always on the road. Not that they want to be on the road, but their job takes them on the road and take them on the road for long periods of time. So that distance, Zoom can't make up for it. Never mind, I see AI bring out one where you could kiss an object, a picture of somebody, and you feel all of the feelings and the texture of the kiss as though you're kissing somebody new. But trust me, AI wouldn't catch some of us with that. AI have to come again. Yeah? Would you all like an AI kiss? Your spouse is not around because of one reason or the other, they are out of the country, and you have to kiss an AI? All the good, yes? So anyway, this distance, if somebody doesn't lacks discipline because the person is away, let's say they are studying 2-3 years away, but coming home once a year. And there are people in relationships with spouses who do not live in their own country. One has to ask, what happens when the pot start to roast and the person is out of the country? That's why you have to really sit down and plan your life properly, so that when this situation comes, you can get a commitment from your spouse that they will remain faithful. Number 10. Number 10. When you helping people and it is an innocent help you are giving or getting, and that innocent relationship turn romantic. All you understand me? The person is in a dire situation, they need money, they need a drop because their car not working, so for 2 weeks you have to drop them to work. Or because you came to their rescue because they're having problems and you sat down and you talked to them and helped them through their problems. They might be having problems with their man or their woman, and you sit down and you give them good counsel and so on, but you get close to the person. And before you know it, you get huff for not eating. My wife like money. She doesn't mind when I had to work 24 to 32 hours because her trust in me is strong. Once you bring in the money, Timothy, boy, you go, my boy, bring in the dough. Yeah. Chef said that will create a great disconnect. Chef, you have to tell me which one you're on, because remember you all are not on the same transmission timeline that I'm on. The one I'm talking about is when two people, because they are in a relationship that has some symbiotic value, one is helping the next one, so they are getting help, and the other one feels valued for having to now help somebody and appreciate the gratitude that they're getting for what they're doing. Because you could find that somebody is in a relationship at home doing so much for their spouse, But his spouse does not take time off to say thank you, I really appreciate what you're doing. You didn't have to do it, but I know that you go out of the way and show all of that. And bam, this person there is showing that they value that, and they are showing that contentment in an appreciation, and you like that, so you want to help them more. And also the person who is in need of help is very happy to get the help, so you all have a commonality that brings you all together. But it started off genuine and innocent, but you start to get feelings for the person, because the person start to share with you some of their own concerns, and so you become entangled in their own life story. And they did not set out to be unfaithful, but they land up that way. All right, so let's see if we could run down now. I just have 1, 2, 3 more, and then number 11, career. Some people's career can very well put you in a sexually charged environment. And that is what we just spoke about. If you have to work night shift as a security guard, as a watchman, as a doctor, nurse, a pilot, even as a DJ, working in the night. You see? All of that could happen. Your career could expose you to a lot of time for sexual encounters. So that has to be looked at also. If you have a weakness, you may have to reconsider the kind of career that you're going into. Number 12, revenge. Revenge sex is somebody was unfaithful to you, and you decide you will be unfaithful to them. One, to please yourself, that you hurt them back, or that you did it, or willfully, so that they would see what it feels like. That revenge sex caused some people to become unfaithful. They didn't plan to do it all the time, you know. They were good. They were committed, but because of what the other person did, they went and gave it. And hands up the cookie. Number 13, identity crisis. When people have a low self-esteem and they doubt themselves, you may find that their sexual prowess boosts their esteem. So you may have a girl who is not feeling too good about herself, but thinks that if guys like her that much, or she can flirt and people take note of her, it strokes her ego, it strokes her self-esteem. And so you may find that she uses that as a sexual pull. So she gets into sex when she didn't plan to, and the person who they snare also get into the sexual act. And it also could happen with guys. A lot of guys, they don't have enough self-esteem, and the reason why they have so many women is to really satisfy their ego, that they are liked and that they are wanted by somebody. And some of these things come from childhood trauma. Right, so those, I gave you 13 ones. But let me just, I saw a video of a gentleman who said, giving people an advice as to how to deal, how to speak to your partner when cheating has taken place. Give it a listen.
You've got to confront. You caught, some proof, some evidence, and you just confront and you say, is this true? Is this, are you having an affair? And so you say, do you still want to be married to me? Do you want this marriage to continue? Because if you want this marriage to continue, then you've got to stop this. Now, if he agrees, then my encouragement is that you go to counseling and marriage counseling. You make a decision and say, get some outside help, because this is a difficult situation. Now, even if you yourself go to counseling, we've got a pastoral care center that you can just call through Messenger and just get some prayer into your life, get some of their emotional support. Go to friends that you trust, people who are there for you, and you know that they love you. Go to them and just share your broken heart, share your pain. Oh my gosh, this is one of the worst human experiences of pain, being betrayed by people that you love. I'll tell you why. Because you've given your heart to someone, meaning to say all your defenses are down. And so your heart is vulnerable. So when somebody betrays that trust, it is very, very painful. Please seek help. Please do not carry this pain alone. Very, very important. Now, if he says, I've done wrong, I've made a mistake, and I want to change, then help him, but help him with a community, counselors, because it's going to be a long journey. This is going to be a long journey. But what if he says, the response is, I want to continue with this philandering. I want to continue with this adultery. If that's the response, then you say, then this marriage is over. You don't want to beg, because the moment you beg, you lose self-respect. And even if he says, okay, stop begging, I'll go to you, that's not love. And you deserve better. So do not beg. What? For the sake of him hanging around there? I really, sure, you can tell him, I want this marriage to work, but if you don't want this marriage anymore, then that's it. The thing is this, that's why I said you've got to have those friends around you, you've got to have the counselors with you, and you've got to have God with you, because at the end of the day, you don't want your life to revolve around one person. You want your life to be founded on God and God's love that will never be broken. And really seek God's help at this time of your life. Follow-up question. My partner cheated on me. We've been together for a long time now. I trusted her. We have plans on getting married already, but she cheated on me. How can I forgive her for what she has done? There are two things that you've got to differentiate here. One is forgiveness, and forgiveness you should do. I'll tell you why.
Okay. All right. So I hope that helped some of you all. Just remember, he says, get help, get help, get help. Some people wait too late to get help. If you're becoming, you're having an illness, don't wait till it becomes chronic. Deal with the matter early. All right? So the telephone number for your help is 868 480 0080. All right. So, okay, the disconnect is a long distance relationship. Thank you for sharing that. All right, people. So next week Thursday, for those in Trinidad and Tobago, next week Thursday is the day just before the carnival. Well, 2 days before the carnival weekend. But we plan to be here, right? So we still will have our program Thursday evening, and I look forward to seeing you, right? Make sure that you keep safe. If you need help, get help. God bless you.